Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
Vitamin Water was born in New York because New Yorkers wanted more. Like more flavor to go with all the flavor. A refreshing drink after climbing 6 flights of stairs to a walk-up apartment. Or standing in the subway station in 100-degree heat. Focus when I have an 8-hour shift. And Triple X after I was out all night at a club. Call Triple X. Drink vitamin water. It's from New York.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing basketball.
Basketball.
Here's our hosts, Steve Collins. And Bill Flitter.
Welcome. Coaching Youth Hoops. Take
Hey,
two.
Coach.
This is take two. No one will ever hear take one, Coach.
Yeah,
We were about 3 minutes in, and then my daughter called and needed something. Then we had to stop. So we're restarting. Making fun of my deep voice. Anyway, we can.
Well,
I guess you can
it's
go
funny.
back.
Yeah, we could add the bloopers to the end, maybe,
Yes,
Coach.
Yes.
When I used to do a lot of speaking engagements and conferences, and this is my early tech days, and it would every time I got on stage, literally a few words said, my phone would ring and it would be my wife. I can't tell you how many times that happened where it became a joke, and I used to say, "Hey, I bet I'm getting a call from my wife." So I would actually purposely leave my phone on. And I can't tell you how many times it happened at that moment that my wife called. She knew I was on stage, so I'm going to give him a call. And it was, hey, can you do this when you get home? It's one of those types of things. No emergencies or anything, but
That's
anyway,
funny.
just like your daughter just called.
I know.
Coach, what are we talking about today?
Hey, no, before we do that, they know what we're talking about. I always think it's funny because they know we're talking about tryouts. Otherwise, that's why they're tuning in. They've already seen it. But let's give a big shout out to Game Changer.
Yes, go to gc.com/coaching youth hoops. Game Changer is my tool of choice to help me organize my team, communicate with my parents, track stats, provide player feedback, and parents can see live streams of all our games and or practices if we're recording those. And it's gc.com/coaching youth hoops. Check it out for more information.
All right. Player tryouts.
Yeah, player tryouts. This is probably one of our biggest questions. I would say top 5. How to handle player tryouts, what to do during player tryouts. We all obviously want to pick our perfect team, right? Now you think about a youth and what youth teams go through. A lot of times it's a draft. At least it is for us. We draft players in our rec leagues teams. You want to have the right mix of kids.
I always say it's like it's like making soup.
Making soup, yeah.
It is, because let's say we're making vegetable soup. It's got to be the right mixture of salt and potatoes and vegetables. And the thing is, your soup might be different than my soup.
Yeah.
And both might taste really good. But you might want more onions and I might want more celery. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't actually love celery in soup. But anyway. So I think it's a mixture. There's a little bit of a science to it. but there's also a little bit of like
Luck.
a little luck and a little bit of freedom. Like good cooks, like I was cooking the other night, and I was grilling out, and we had chicken, we had salmon, we had broths. You know what I'm going to do for all of you right now, all you Coaching Youth Hoops listeners? I'm going to give you my secret ingredient to the perfect beer broth. Do you want to know the secret ingredient? Do you make beer? Do you make beer broths in California?
It's been a minute. I have though.
So you grill onions and peppers in the bottom of the big pot.
Mm-hmm.
This is the kicker. Okay, then you grill those up so it smells really nice in the kitchen. You pour the beer in, a couple bottles of beer, throw a little bit of water in, and then the key ingredient is a little brown sugar in the water.
Yeah.
Little brown sugar in the water. And then you boil the broths for about 45 minutes, and the beer and the brown sugar and the peppers and all of that kind of you salt and pepper too, a little garlic salt, and then you throw them on the grill. Will be the best beer broths you've ever had, guaranteed.
Have you experimented with different beers?
I tend to go cheapest as possible.
Okay.
Because it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
I've done really expensive beer. I've done really cheap beer. You really can't tell because a lot of it burns off. It does get inside the casing. And I am from Wisconsin and do like a good broth, but you shouldn't eat more than 2 or 3 broths a year. I know. Sorry, Johnsonville. How did we get on broths? How did that? Making a team.
Oh, making soup.
But making
the tryouts. Yeah.
Like when you cook, there's a feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't measure out the brown sugar. I don't measure out the salt. I know the feel. I know what it should be, and I know what it should taste like when it comes out. And that's similar.
Well, let's talk about from the top though. So,
but before we do that, one big shout out to Game Changer. Let's give a big shout out to Game Changer.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the URL again?
Yeah, gc.com/coaching youth hoops. Go check out Game Changer.
Okay, go ahead, Coach.
Oh yeah, so starting like tryouts and organizing tryouts, what to look for. Your evaluation form is really important. But also as a coach, what's your philosophy? What do you want in your team? What's important to you? But let's talk about the day of tryouts, picking the right drills. You've had experience doing that. Are you doing stations? There's a lot of times on our boys teams, there's 40, 50 boys in a gym, and we're trying to evaluate them all at one time. Easier if, it's their 3rd or 4th year in the program, right? You kind of know what to expect. And
I think it's got to be a mixture of station work, of skill work, where you can see, because you can do some skill work with dribbling and shooting in big groups pretty easily. And then you got to let them play, and we tend to do a lot of 3-on-3 when we're doing breakdowns and playing rather than 5-on-5.
Us too, yeah.
Because you can't hide 3-on-3. Like you're going to have to touch the ball. You're going to have to dribble. You're going to have to shoot. But we have some great we have a great evaluation form that coaches can get. Where do they get that, Coach? Because I'm proud of that. I think that's
it is really helpful. It's a good tool. Yeah, if you go to coachingyouthhoops.com/season-checklist, not only will you get that evaluation form and how to run tryouts, but that checklist has everything you will need to run an effective basketball season. It asks lots of questions to get you thinking about the details of planning practices, planning tryouts, planning your communications with your parents, post game. I mean, your philosophies on defense and offense. It's pretty detailed.
It is. So, and I think
go to Coaching Youth. Oh, one more time, Coach. coachingyouthhoops.com/season-checklist for more information. It'll also be in the show notes.
Okay. I think when you're doing cuts at any level, I don't care if you're making a cut on an NBA team, you have to have communication, you have to have compassion, you have to have a reason, you have to, obviously sometimes it's money at the professional level, But
Yeah.
how are you communicating those cuts? How are you talking? Like, are we at the youth level? Are we calling parents? Are we calling kids? Are we telling them they made it? Are they some of them not making it? All of those things I think are very important at the youth level, because to be honest with you, we're building young people rather than basketball players in a lot of respects. And how we
Yeah.
build those young people into being better young people that can eventually take care of Coach Bill and I someday in the nursing home. Maybe trying to build good
Uh,
citizens too, I think. And so I think
yeah,
that
that's
empathy
right.
and
No,
that
that's so
compassion is
important.
important, I think.
No, you nailed it on that one. The not only having effective tryouts and evaluations, but then if you are a program that does cut players, uh, having players understand why they may get cut and what you're looking for, and communicating the process of that is so important. Uh, how many? So, talk about length of time. What are your like if you're looking at, let's say you're evaluating fifth grade boys, right? Uh, you have 30 kids in the gym. Are you looking at an hour and a half, an hour? Um,
Yeah, at least an hour and a half, and probably more than
yeah.
once. I don't necessarily like one tryouts. We don't tend to
Mm,
do that in our program. We tend to do multiple days. First of all, because there's conflicts. Maybe they're playing baseball, maybe they're playing football, maybe they're
hmm.
doing something else. They're playing rugby. I don't know. So I want to give them multitudes of chances to show their stuff, but also I know it's hard to believe. Coach Bill and I actually even have bad days once in a while. Players can too, and that's why I don't
Yeah.
necessarily want just one event to make that final decision or that pick, I think.
We used to do multiple days. We went to one day. We usually pick a Sunday, and then a makeup day. Makeup days are always kind of tough because it's hard to evaluate one player against the whole group. But we
Yes,
did two, and it was just so time consuming. We have a
it
big
is,
program though, a big
and it's
rec team,
hard.
rec
It's hard to
league,
get
so
people to
people
come,
to
and
volunteer and right
I know.
to yeah, and you have expect the coaches to come back for 2 days for a few hours at a time and have their kids. Yeah, so we went to that. That seemed to work for us. But like you said, we start off with some drills, some basic drills, ball handling drills just to see how that is. But then most of it is made up of just playing 3-on-3. We do end with 5-on-5, full court, right? Seeing how they get up and down the court. We're constantly subbing people in and out.
Yes, yes.
And we have two tiers in our league. So there's an American, we call it American and a national. And
Are they
we
equal? Are they equal?
no, they're not equal.
Nationals
So
better.
American,
Oh,
American's better than national. And then we start off
Cub
with,
fan. I want a national.
an hour or no, maybe the 45 minutes of the evals, we start separating into the American National, and then we're constantly moving, and we have two big courts or multiple courts, depends, more than two, I mean. Then we're moving kids back and forth to see, oh, can those players shined over on the national side? Can they hold that up in the American side? So we give kids every opportunity to stand out. We also have a matrix that you've mentioned where we just, one through, I forget the number we use, 1 through 3, and then, we just weight them. Sometimes, obviously, it's pretty easy. You always have those bubble kids. We have 10 people on our American team, and we only have one of those, and we may, depending on the number of kids, we have multiple national teams with 8 to 10 kids per team on that. So that's how we do it. In and out in an hour and a half, approximately per grade. Um, Sometimes we'll have to go to two if there's a bunch. We
Do
have
you
kids
have the
seniors.
do you have the coaches evaluate, or you have outsiders evaluate?
So we have one outside evaluator come in who has no kids. Sometimes we bring in college players to do that in the local college to ask them if they would evaluate for the American team.
Right.
Uh, and then the coaches evaluate all of the other players more so. The coaches are doing it more so to say, oh gosh, here's my top 20 kids that I'd love to draft, right?
Right.
Yeah. And we don't rely too heavily on them to pick the American kids. We rely on that outside evaluator to help us decide on who should be
the
in
outside
that
evaluator can help with the bubble kids too. I have found that
exactly
that to be a useful thing, because those are the hard. Everyone tends
right.
to know the best kids in the gym. It's the other ones that tend to be a little bit harder.
And really good point. That needs to be addressed too. We have no cuts, so everybody makes a team, but you also have to be prepared for kids who are, in our case, were on that upper American team, who now the following year they don't make it and they're going to go on a national team. Usually our athletic director will call those parents and say directly and say, hey, Johnny didn't make it this year.
Here's how and why, and
exactly. So our independent evaluator thought there was a few better players, right, and whatever else they might say, but
to make the spoonful of sugar go down better. Yes, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's always tough, right? You got to remember you're dealing with kids, so they get
and you don't want to necessarily turn them off. That's the thing with tryouts.
Right.
It's like you don't know,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of things can change. All right. Anything else in closing, Coach? Give that URL again for everybody.
Yeah, go to coachingyouthhoops.com/season-checklist. And again, season-checklist. We will share our evaluation forms with you. We have a practice plan for your tryouts. You can download that there as well. And just an amazing checklist for your entire season, questions that you can ask yourself as you're planning, as you're in season, and as you're thinking about doing your postseason. It's a comprehensive checklist, has 80-some questions that you can ask yourself to just be a better coach and a more organized coach.
I love that. All right. Till next week, Coach.
Till next week.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.